Wake up, sports fans. It's time for the weekend wake up live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will also respond to you on Twitter if you want to join the show over there. My name is Vito Abenanti. That is Matt Moore, as I post our names up here. We have a shortened show. Kyrie couldn't make it today. He is a little bit under the weather. As he put it, or as Matt put it, he's spitting hot fire. He's got a bit of a fever. He said that he's basically he's got dragon's breath right now. So I wasn't sure if that just meant he needed to brush his teeth and use some scope, or if he actually had a fever. But we're going to be Kyrie-less today. Well, sort of. Kyrie has asked that as part of our main topic of conversation, which we may only have one on the show today. It's going to be a shortened show. As our main topic of conversation, we replace him with a video of someone else talking about what we're going to talk about. So we're going to have Kyrie on the show, but it's not actually going to be Kyrie. It's going to be somebody else speaking for him. But Matthew, it's been a couple weeks. How have you been, sir?
Good, sir. How you doing? It's good to be back.
You know me, just living the dream over here. I did mention to you, I do have lights. I know it looks like I'm in the boiler room down here, but for some reason my regular light is not working, and I'm sitting behind a wall of monitors here, so the lights in the room don't really make it to my face.
I'm just going to blame the mustache on this one.
This is probably for the best, because really, who wants to see my face in brighter lights anyway? If you're joining the show for the first time, or you're joining the show for the 50th time, you can subscribe on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search my name, Vito Abenanti, to subscribe. You can follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/Weekend Wake Up Show. And you can join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/VJA Sports Media. You can also follow all three of us, or only two of us today, but you can follow all three of us on Twitter, at KD Thompson 5, at Sports with More with 2 O's, and at VJA Sports Media. So we get down to it. The White Sox have a bit of a problem, and it's not that they had the best record in the league going into last week, and it's not really on the field whatsoever. The problem they seem to have is on their bench, and I don't mean players. Their issue is 76-year-old Tony La Russa, who also happens to be the manager of their team. And well, he's not doing a very good job of managing A, on the field, or B, in the media. So I'm not really sure what exactly he's managing. But I'll give you a little lead into as to what happened this week. Earlier this week, the White Sox were playing the Minnesota Twins. They were up by a score of 15-4 in the top of the 9th inning. And I assume in order to save his bullpen, Rocco Baldelli, who is the manager of the Twins, I'm not wrong in saying that, right? This was still a Rocco Baldelli thing.
Yeah, well, the only thing, he had guys to use in his bullpen.
He did,
and that's another issue of this.
I assume being down 11 runs, he was like, "All right, we're gonna punt on this game." Now, I think of this in a couple different ways. You know, the manager is saying, "Well, I want to protect my other guys by just sending out a position player and going, you know what, whatever, just throw strikes, let him hit it. We'll get a couple outs. You know, maybe we give up a run or two, but it doesn't matter. We're down by 11, so who cares?" So he put in position player Willians Astudillo, who, obviously not a pitcher, position player, is throwing 47, 45, 49 mile per hour pitches. Yermin Mercedes, who has been a revelation for the White Sox in his rookie, well, a little bit older, but still rookie year. Yermin Mercedes gets a 3-0 pitch, 47 miles per hour over the middle of the plate, and proceeds to destroy it 429 feet for a home run, a solo home run. Okay, you think, like you're looking at that and you're going, yeah, 3-0 pitch, but they're up by 11 runs, but he got a pitch right down the middle. He's going to crush it. Oh, not so. Not to be, he couldn't, the ball couldn't have landed fast enough before the ridiculousness started. After the game, Tony La Russa, the aforementioned 76-year-old manager, about approximately 50 years older than everybody on the team that he manages, said, with that kind of a lead, I'm sorry, this was the next day he said it. With that kind of a lead, it's just sportsmanship or respect for the game or respect for your opponent. He made a mistake. There will be a consequence that he's going to have to endure within our family. It won't happen again. So right there, I'm gonna just go off a little bit here, because this is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. And this apparently became part of the unwritten rules. And for anyone who has watched or listened to this show, we are in year 6 of this show being around in some incarnation, whether it's just myself and Matt, Matt and Kyrie, myself and Kyrie. It doesn't matter. But the 6 years of this show, I've probably talked about unwritten rules at least once every single year, because something stupid like this comes up. First of all, unwritten rules are one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. If you want it to be a rule, write it down. It's that simple. If you don't want it to be a rule, then it's just your perception of how things are happening around you. Okay? So on top of what Tony La Russa was talking about as far as an unwritten rule goes, he apologized to the Twins on behalf of Yermin Mercedes. Not sure why, but okay, he apologized to the Twins. He threw Yermin Mercedes under the bus. The following night, Tyler Duffey throws a ball behind Yermin Mercedes, obviously as retribution for hitting a home run in a game where the home run didn't really matter. For some reason, this turned into a thing. So Tyler Duffey throws behind Yermin Mercedes. It's obvious what he's doing. It's obvious he's throwing at Yermin Mercedes. On top of that, Tony La Russa then says he doesn't have a problem with the Twins throwing at Yermin Mercedes. So this whole sequence of events is just one of the goofiest things in the world. Matt, I have to ask you a question here.
Yeah.
If you're Tony La Russa and you're apologizing on behalf of Yermin Mercedes, you assume the situation is over, right? You apologized, so nothing should happen.
That's the big thing, right? That's what if there are any Tony La Russa defenders, that's what they're trying to say is, well, he tried to get in front of it. He tried to deflect the situation. So yeah, it should have ended there. But what I have a problem with, and I don't know if a lot of people are talking about this, you talk about consequences. Why was he in the lineup the next day? You should have benched him. You should, if you were going to send a message, if you were going to do whatever that you said you were going to do, why not sit him down for a game so that way you don't have this happen? Okay, because you don't know what's going to happen, but you basically just gave the Twins a pass to throw at your guy. Oh, and forget, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure this was after the guy in New York took a fastball off the face and almost destroyed his face. The Sox are already down hitters. They can't afford to lose anyone else. Okay, this thing is so beyond ridiculous, and it highlights every single reason why no one wanted this guy to manage this team. He's out of touch. He's a dinosaur. He doesn't relate to his players. And then on top of it, he's going to stick up for the other team and tell them that they were right. Are you kidding me? Like, what is this?
It's incredible to me, and I don't know if you saw the chat that just popped up. Marcel joins the show on Facebook. He basically said, you're talking about respecting the game. Respect for the game was thrown out the window when the Rangers ran out a guy throwing 45 miles per hour. But I think the biggest, the most confusing part for me, and it was the Twins, not the Rangers, Sully. I'm sorry, I'm just throwing that out there. But I think the most confusing part for me is there was no reason for Tony La Russa to throw his own guy under the bus if there was going to be consequences, or if he was going to apologize to the Twins. And then there was no reason for him to back the bus over him after the Twins throw at him. And he says, well, I'm okay with that. Well, then what was the point of your apology? You should have just left it alone and just let the Twins take care of it, right?
What if that hits him in the face? What if that hits him in the ankle? What if that injures him?
But it didn't. It didn't, so it's okay. It didn't.
I don't care.
And I just go back to correlation does not equal causation. Okay, just because something didn't happen doesn't mean that the situation that led to it doesn't didn't have to happen in the first place.
And to go along with this, and I said this on Facebook. Somebody posted an article about this is an example of our generation of people not being able to be criticized. First of all, that's hot garbage.
Yeah,
people can be criticized. Okay, if I do something wrong, I want to know about it because guess what? I want to get better. Do I want to be thrown under a bus? No. But what if that guy gets hurt? You're already down. You're already down players. You can't afford to take any more losses. And you're basically telling the other team it is okay to throw at my guys.
And it's funny, Matt, that you mentioned the injuries too, because last week I asked Kyrie directly. I said, who costs the White Sox more games this year? Is it the injuries or is it Tony La Russa? And right now, it's Tony La Russa in a landslide. It's not even close.
And where I was going with this, right? So you've already shown that you don't know. So you put your player in danger with this situation with Mercedes. You also put your closer, and this was another thing that happened. When you don't know the rules, where you have your closer running the bases in extra innings because you don't know that you can use the guy prior to him in the batting order to run the bases. So you're putting your closer out at risk because you don't know the rules. This guy is not
incredible.
He's not going to win you any games. He's already proved that he's going to lose you games. If I'm the White Sox, I'm moving on from this as fast as I can. And from this, I mean from Tony La Russa. So go get a young manager. Vito, I think we're in.
They're not going to get rid of him. They're not going to get rid of him. Jerry Reinsdorf. Jerry Reinsdorf right is the second most oblivious guy in the room behind Tony La Russa.
Not right now, but you have to make that change in the offseason. You have to admit that you made a mistake.
But can you afford to waste a year? If you made the mistake, what are you waiting for getting rid of him? If you can admit you made a mistake, you don't wait. I'm sorry, you don't wait.
Because they want to do that. You know how they want to do that. They want to do that in like a news dump on a Friday at 7 p.m. We've agreed to part ways.
Well, yeah, the Bulls became masters of that.
And who ran the Bulls? I mean, come on. This is why we know about this. And Marcel, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
This is the best. Matt, you lead into this because this is the best response ever.
I love how TLRL knows all the unwritten rules, but none of the actual ones. And I wrote this on a Facebook post. You cannot criticize a guy. You can't be a manager that's gonna die on a hill for unwritten rules of baseball when you have no idea what the actual rules of baseball are. Because you're too lazy to actually research them because you're going to play an NL team. Well, I didn't know that. That's your job to know that. Not to die on this hill and throw your player under a bus and run him over with it afterwards. Every single thing that he did in this situation is beyond asinine. I'm sorry. It boggles my mind. We always talk about a PR firm. Maybe we should expand into managing, being a general manager, because apparently common sense on our teams.
We have to extend to everything at this point.
Apparently they don't know anything. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to come off like I'm a smart man, because to quote Forrest Gump, I'm not a smart man. But this is ridiculous.
Hey, let me just throw this out there, okay? I said this from moment one. Mm-hmm. I would have a problem if Yermin Mercedes blatantly ignored a take sign. Okay, here's the one part where I would have an issue on this particular situation. Yermin Mercedes comes up to the plate. It's 3-0. La Russa tells the third base coach, gives him the sign to take. Yermin Mercedes ignores it, hits a 429-foot homer. After the game, or when he's being asked, Tony La Russa says, yeah, I didn't really like that, mainly because I gave Yermin the take sign, and he either didn't see it or, he swung through it. And, that we're going to have some team repercussions there because that's a team thing. And the reason I personally don't like that, and this is me talking, not me talking for Tony La Russa, the reason I personally don't like that is because I've coached baseball. And situationally, you can't have guys, you're the manager, you're making these decisions. You can't have guys ignoring signs, missing signs, because it means outs and it means losses. It really does. You have a guy who steals when you didn't want him to steal because you didn't like the count. Or you have a guy who doesn't steal when you wanted him to, or it was supposed to be a hit and run, and instead guy hits into a double play instead of advancing the runner to second, on a fielder's choice. Or in this particular case, you have a guy you want to take on 3-0. I get it. That might be the best pitch he sees. Because on the other end, I can't stand the idea that if he didn't get the take sign, there should be no reason for him to be swinging.
See,
why? Why not?
But even phrasing it how he did, that your main missed a sign, your main did this. As a manager, you need to do a better job of eating that on yourself, putting it on and saying, you know what? There was some kind of miscommunication between my player and me. I'll own that. That's on me. I got to do a better job. But putting it fairly squarely on his player basically gave the Twins the right to come back the next day and did well.
But that's what I'm saying. We joke about this. Our PR firm. There are so many different ways he could have gone with that, and he chose stupidity. Like
in every single one of them, he didn't handle any aspect of this right at all. Not even close. Not even close.
So here's another one, and this is the throwing at guys thing. Selly brings up a good point. He's like, remember when the Cubs had Rizzo pitch and Freddie Freeman swung as hard as he could and struck out? What happens if Freeman hits a homer? Do the Cubs throw at him? And the answer is no.
No.
I actually took issue with that situation as well because, you're down by 12 runs or whatever. You're goofing around. Okay, it was fun. You struck him out. But kind of to Selly's point, do you think Anthony Rizzo went up there with the intention to give up a home run? Do you think that Astudillo went up there with the intention to give up a home run? The answer is no. So whether Rocco Baldelli was punting on the game or not, I can guarantee you the player that went out there wasn't intending on actually throwing batting practice. Yeah, maybe he only throws 47 miles per hour, but I guarantee you he was still trying to get Yermin Mercedes out. So what is Yermin Mercedes supposed to do? Just take the out?
Oh,
I'm just going to take the L. Sorry on this one.
And not to mention, that's his one job, Mercedes. He's the DH.
Right.
You're putting him in the lineup. You're putting him in the lineup to hit, and then you're going to tell him, "Oh, by the way, please don't hit."
And so the argument on top of that was, we don't swing on 3-0. That's not how baseball is played. First of all, it is.
Yeah.
And here's why. Here's why. Why isn't swinging A for the fences at this point? And we can have a separate argument about analytics and how guys are swinging and what they turn the game into. And we actually should, because of the amount of no hitters. I've actually brought it up twice on the show in the last 3 weeks, and it's probably going to be a topic on a future show, very near future.
Well, because there's probably going to be 4 more no hitters by the time the show.
Yeah, they're well on their way to breaking the record before we hit July 4th.
They need one more, right? It's just one more.
They need one more to tie the record. Yeah. I mean, if you don't count Madison Bumgarner's, which was a 7 inning.
You should. I'm sorry. That's so dumb.
I agree. They changed the rules, but we'll get into that at a different time. But you've taught everyone that this is what they should be doing, right? If I'm a hitter and the best pitch I'm going to, again, aside from the manager gave me the take sign and I swung through it, I have an issue with that on a team level. But if I'm a hitter and I have a 3-0 count and I'm fairly certain the best pitch I'm going to get in this at bat is coming, why am I not swinging at it? Why would I not swing at it? It doesn't make any sense to me. My job is to hit the ball. So if the best pitch I'm going to see in an at bat against anyone, a position player, a closer, a setup man, a long reliever, my number 5 starter, my number 1 starter, if that's the best pitch I'm going to see, I'm swinging at it. So the unwritten rule of, well, you don't do that when you're up by X amount of runs. Look, here's what I understand. You know an unwritten rule that I actually don't mind? And this is another one. You don't need to be stealing up by 11 runs or 12 runs or 15 runs. You don't need to be stealing bases because you're not really trying to, and I'm talking like in the 9th inning. I'm not talking in the 3rd inning. If I'm up by 11 in the 3rd inning, I'm stealing bases. I'm doing a hit and run. I'm swinging at every good pitch I find. I'm talking about like you're up by 11 runs in the 9th inning. You got a runner on first. There's 2 outs. There's no reason for you to be stealing second base. That's one little one where I'm just like, okay, I kind of get it.
And forgive me too. There was a game this season recently where I don't know. It might have been the Dodgers. They were up like 14-3 on somebody, then
And they came back.
to make it like 14-12.
Make it a game, yeah.
So again, I get it. People are like, "Oh, well, that's."
But that's one that was like the 5th or 6th inning. I don't care. I'm still playing in the 5th or 6th inning.
Yeah, I just this makes no sense. Again, if this shows you that, and you're kind of bringing this up, are there problems in that locker room with the respect of Tony La Russa? Because if Mercedes got that sign and said, "You know what, man, I'm going to do me. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm going to do me and I'm going to swing." Again, what does that tell you? That you hired the wrong guy for this job. He does not relate to his players. And you have guys like Tim Anderson coming out after the fact, stepping up for his player, doing the job that the manager should have did, by the way, saying, "You know what? I've got no problem with what he did. That's our guy. We've got his back." You've got Lance Lynn coming out, who's played for La Russa, right? I think he was there with him on the Cardinals.
Yeah, he played. He played for him on the Cardinals.
So he played for him. He knows La Russa. He's played for him before, basically telling La Russa that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. This is a problem. This is the problem that we all knew was going to happen, but for some reason,
you know what's funny, Matt, is sometimes you get those managers who build a team concept where it's us against the world. Right now, Tony La Russa is building a concept where it's him against literally everyone else, and by literally I mean his own team, the other team, media, the fans, like.
But the only problem with that, though, dude, is that he's so oblivious, and I'm not trying to take shots at his age or call him senile or do anything, but again, it just fits because he has no idea what's going on.
No, I completely agree.
He has absolutely no idea what he just did to his own clubhouse.
So let me bring this up, and this is a good point. Marcel on Facebook, and you can join the show on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Weekend Wake Up Show. He asked this because we were talking about unwritten rules. How do you feel about bunting to break up a no-hitter? And I'll just tell you flat out, I'm for it. You know why I'm for it? Because my job is to get a hit. My job is to get on base.
Well,
I'm not giving away outs just because this pitcher is dominating us.
Is it a 1-0 game? Is it a 10-0 game? It depends if it's a 1-0 game, then hell no. Then obviously, yeah, you're trying to get people on base and get base runners.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care if it's 10-0 either.
I don't think I have a problem with it.
My job as a hitter is to not get no hit.
Exactly. But I could see, I guess I don't want to defend it, but it would make more sense to me if it was like a 10-0 game. Oh, you bunt. Okay, but whatever.
I wish more guys just bunted just for the hell of it, just to get on base. Your job is to get on base.
But again,
you got these guys going through 0 for 20 slumps. And they're swinging out of their heels.
Well, and that's how the games change. It's not about getting. It's not about getting on base. It's about launch angles and extra base hits. It's about that. It's not. You don't have guys like Ricky Henderson and lead off like to your typical leadoff. I guess the Sox had Billy Hamilton, but the importance of getting base runners. It's all about the home run. We've seen that, and that's a problem that the game has. And again, we could spend a whole show talking about maybe that's ruining baseball to an extent. I don't know, but this whole thing, and and Marcel brought up the Freddie Freeman thing to go back to that. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem I don't think Rizzo would have a problem. I think Rizzo would laugh about it because he knows I'm a position player.
Why am I out here?
I have no business. I have no business being out here. If somebody lights me up, I'm going to laugh about it because you know what? First of all, my team sucks bad enough to the point where they had to use me to come out here. So this is a joke.
Don't even get me started on those guys. Let me just do this. So Kyrie couldn't make it today.
Oh God.
So he has requested, and I'm gonna put this up here. We're gonna move off to the side, and I'm gonna put this down at the bottom here. He has requested that you can see on your screen right now that CC Sabathia had just a crazy rant about this on a podcast recently. And Kyrie couldn't make it, so he has requested that in his stead, CC Sabathia explain.
You made it when you have CC talking for you.
Well, we already knew Kyrie made it, so... But we're gonna have CC Sabathia speak for. I'm gonna mute myself and Matt. You're gonna see our reactions to this.
That's part of the show.
Yeah, we're gonna mute ourselves, and I'm gonna have CC Sabathia speak for against his will, by the way, speak for Kyrie Thompson.
This is what I was telling you when they hired him. Like, he's just so out of touch with the game, and most people are, cuz. Like, I sit here and watch Christopher Russo on fucking MLB Network. He's out of touch with the game, cuz. Like, Tony La Russa's out of touch with the game, cuz. He should not be managing one of the best teams in the American League, period. The fact that Tim Anderson, basically the captain of their team, had to go on Instagram and step up for his teammate, like, yeah, the game wasn't over. If you're going to put a fucking position player in there to pitch, guess what? If he's going to lob shit over the plate, we going to fucking tee off. Put a 10-run rule up there, cuz. If y'all don't want to see people get embarrassed and you don't want to see position players pitch and people swing on 3-0 counts and all that shit, then make it a 10-run rule so the fucking game will be over and you don't have these stupid-ass unwritten rules. And now you got a rookie that's basically been carrying your fucking team these last fucking first 6 weeks of the season. This guy's been carrying you. And now you don't have a problem with the fucking weird-ass Minnesota Twins throwing behind one of your biggest hitters? That's just fucking stupid. It's stupid, period. I'm sorry. This shit is terrible. He shouldn't be fucking man.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to continue, but I forgot the disclaimer that I wanted to put at the beginning that said, hide your kids, hide your wife, because there is a lot of profanity in this. So I'm going to let it continue, but there's my disclaimer a little late.
In that team, and if you're not going to step up and have your players back, what's the point of being the fucking manager of the White Sox? Shit is stupid as fuck. Sorry.
See, perfectly said. I feel like that'll be our social media clip for the week from R2C2.
Fucking stupid, man. That shit. I was so mad, cuz. And I was re-pissed off yesterday when Duffy's weird ass threw behind him.
Re-pissed off is a phrase I like. But yeah.
Re-pissed off. I always get re-pissed off, cuz. But I was just as mad as I was when I seen it, when I heard La Russa.
Yeah.
And then, I love Rocco Baldelli, but you can't go out and argue that, cuz. You guys look fucking stupid. You were losing 15-4, cuz. Don't fucking put a position player in the pitch if you don't want guys teeing off. Like, get the fuck out of here. This shit was stupid. And even the Twins getting mad, cuz. Play better. Yeah. You guys fucking suck. You 3 games under fucking 500. You're supposed to be the best team in the Central. You suck. Sorry. Y'all was losing 15-4. Like, man, get over it. That shit is done.
It wants us to watch it again.
Oh boy, yeah, I'm gonna turn that off. So Matt, I saw you counting. Looks like you were counting the cuzes.
Yeah, the cuz meter ended at 8.
Oh man, that's incredible. So that was Kyrie Thompson. I mean, CC Sabathia inadvertently speaking on behalf of Kyrie Thompson. There were a lot of F-bombs.
Could you imagine Kyrie getting that heated up though? Like,
I don't think I could see Kyrie getting that mad about anything.
Can we have him actually recreate that? Like transcript that and give that to him and have him read that.
Kyrie, if you come back and watch this later, and this is even Selly's like, but Kyrie, if you come back and watch this later, I'm going to need you to write down the transcript of that, and
he's not even going to do it for you.
We're not even going to read. Yeah, no, you got to do the legwork. So Matt, look, everyone thinks this is stupid. Everyone thinks, at least, and I say everyone in a very general way. I can't think of. I'll put it this way: I can't think of anyone that I've been in contact with that thought Tony La Russa was in the right in this situation, or Jerry Reinsdorf made any sense whatsoever when he hired Tony La Russa. So we've talked about the games he's blown because he doesn't know the rules. We've talked about alienating his own team because he's more invested in unwritten rules than he is the actual rules. I mean, the game has passed this guy by. We said it. I don't even know if you were on the show when this first happened, or Kyrie was, or if it was a solo show that I did. But I distinctly remember saying it made less than 0 cents for this guy to be hired. He's been out of the game for 11 years. And by out of the game, I mean he hasn't been on a bench in over a decade. He's almost 50 years older than everybody on the team outside of maybe guys like Jose Abreu and Yasmani Grandal.
That's more of a Cuba thing, though, because we don't really know how old those guys are. So
They could be 27. They could be 42. We don't really know.
Did you remember when Contreras was pitching?
Yes.
Trying to tell me he was like 34? No, he was like 55. Like, come on.
He had like Greg Oden syndrome.
Well, that's.
But
another...
I mean, the game has passed Tony La Russa by.
Good for him.
You know, I put jokingly, who knew? But the hire seemed confusing, and it seems worse as time goes on. So back to your point, Matt. You think if they want to do it, you know, they want to admit their mistake. You say that end of the year. Yeah. I say why wait? Why wait till the end of the year?
I think that they have to move past this, and if you do that now, you're just going to let that linger. I think you have to try to put this aside. I think that division is already there. I don't think anything's going to change. They're still a good team. Like and that's the shame in all this, right? This is what we're talking about. We're talking about this instead of actually talking about the team, how good they are, how well they've played with all the injuries on this team. If this is any other manager besides Tony La Russa, he'd be getting all the praise in the world, right? Like, look at how good this team is still playing with all these injuries, with everything that's going on. But I think at some point you do publicly need to move past this. And I don't think you can do that if you fire the guy midway through the season.
No, I think that's how you move past it. He's gone. You don't have to talk about it anymore. I mean, look, you're always going to talk about it, but he's gone. He's done. You don't have to worry about him blowing games. You don't have to worry about any of it. It's funny because I commented.
Okay, so you know how you do that then? You bump him up to an advisory role. Make him an assistant to the GM. Don't fire him from the organization. Maybe take him out of the manager's role. That's how you do that.
But everyone knows what they're doing. He's not dumb. Look, he's a moron in my eyes, and I can't stand him to begin with, but he's not dumb enough to think like, oh yeah, you're giving me a promotion. That's great.
Oh, hey,
go ahead.
I was going to say on an unrelated note, I want to make this plea to baseball. Can we stop having the manager have to dress up in full uniform? Because when Tony La Russa is in a press conference, he looks like the most uncomfortable man I've ever seen. Well, there's no way that uniform could be comfortable for him. And maybe that's part of his problem. You know, he's older, man. Get some, you know, like a leisure suit on. Get something.
That's why he can't make these decisions, because he's got too much tightness going on with the uniform. I hear you. I want to get to some of our comments. Some of the people who have joined the show, Mike and Marcel. But before I do that, I want to, you know, you kind of went in this direction, you know, talking about how good the team is. The team's good. And Phil Rogers posted something the other day, and it was like, Tony La Russa's, this was a tweet, Tony La Russa's an easy target these days, but I can pretty much guarantee you Reinsdorf could care less. First of all, I'm going to stop it right there, because he said Reinsdorf could care less. Now, this is a professional writer that doesn't understand that it's couldn't care less, but let's move on. He said the White Sox 98 win pace speaks louder than bloggers and talk show hosts. My take for Forbes. And so he posted his article. He posted an article, and the headline says Chicago White Sox. This is even better. It says Chicago White Sox, and it says Sox with an apostrophe S. It says Soxes. Jerry Reinsdorf and Tony La Russa are deaf to criticism. So Kyrie retweeted it and was like, Tony La Russa is definitely not the reason this team is winning, and has actively been a reason they lost on multiple occasions, but go off. So I responded with, quote, Reinsdorf, La Russa, oblivious to reality. Here, I fixed the rest of the headline for them. I'm just not sure how that it's incredible to me that someone actually sided with Reinsdorf and La Russa on any of this. But to think that Tony La Russa is the reason they're on a 98, or at least they were on a 98 game winning pace, is mind-boggling. And I said it, mind-boggling, and you'll get the reference, but it's means all my thoughts are up in my head and I can't get them out like a bottle, because it's absolute insanity that someone thinks Tony La Russa is the reason these guys are winning games.
I would also like to take credit for the White Sox winning baseball games. If we're just going to throw it around like that,
we might as well.
I would request my check be sent in the mail. because this guy has absolutely no idea what he's doing. He's not responsible for the only thing that he is going to do. And like you alluded to this earlier, he will create that divide. It will create that divide of the team versus the manager. It's like Major League in real life. Instead of the players versus the owner, it's the players versus the manager. Maybe they're going to get a little Tony La Russa cutout in there and they could take a piece off every time they win a game. Tell me that wouldn't be awesome.
Mike on Facebook, he kind of reiterated what Sully had said earlier, saying it's more disrespectful of the game that Baldelli put a position player in.
But it's not even about disrespect. It's everybody knows what's going on except Tony La Russa. Like that's the problem. Everybody knows that that's a gimmick. That hey, guess what? We don't give a shit about the game anymore. We're done. Right. Just call if you want to end this, mercy rule of the game.
This one's even better. This is what Mike said. I hope someone does it again because La Russa said if it happens, he'll run out in front of the hitter to prevent it. I'd love to see that. That's one from Mike. But back to our point of, firing Tony La Russa or moving him to a different spot. Sully joins us on Facebook and is like, there's no way he makes that move. He let Garpax run his other team into the ground. And not only that, and Sully, I know you know this because you've watched the show before. I probably said 10 times a year, how do you continue to let John Paxson, I understand Gar was the GM, but John Paxson was in a decision-making role in that organization for nearly 2 decades, and they went to one Eastern Conference final. Just the Eastern Conference Finals. They didn't go to any NBA Finals. They didn't make it past the Eastern Conference Final, and they never made it there again.
Well, see, where I think the difference is here is, again, I think you're going to have a lot of players go to whoever and say, I don't want to play for this guy. And again, what other implications does this have in the offseason? If you're a free agent, are you going to want to come here and play for this guy? Hell no. Hell no. There's no way you're going to, I get to come play for Tony La Russa? No. Well, unless you're bringing Albert Pujols back to play for his, 35th year. That's probably about the only guy that you're going to get to come play for this guy.
I was amazed that La Russa said there's no chance for him coming here. That he had the awareness to understand they had nowhere to play him.
And then again, he went at Lance Lynn and basically told him, well, you have a locker, I have an office. That is like the dad response, right? Like, we're both dads, right? And you're probably not there yet. I'm just starting to get there. But when your kid calls you out and you've been called out and you know that you're wrong, what do you fire back with? Don't do as I say. Don't do as I do. Do as I say.
Do as I say, not as I do.
That's all he did. Well, I have an office. Cool.
You know what makes me laugh about that? And I used this as a real world example. If you work anywhere, it doesn't matter. You work anywhere with a manager, okay? If your manager has to repeatedly remind you that he's your manager, he's not your manager. He's either garbage at his job or he's just a crappy person, because that's not a leader. That's not management. That's not what this is. So if you have to tell people, well, I have an office and and I have a World Series ring and I have this and I have that. If you have to pitch your resume in the media to impress your players or to show people how much more important than the players you are, then you're not important and you're also shitty at your job. So I just, like you said, Tony La Russa could not have done more incorrect things in rapid succession than he's done from beginning to end in this entire situation.
And he's going to die on this hill.
He is. There were 100 things he could have done correctly, and he chose the 7 that could not have gone more in the opposite direction. It's incredible to me.
Kiss the ring. I don't know.
So then the funny part is, obviously, La Russa didn't have a problem with Tyler Duffey throwing at Yermin Mercedes, but the league did, because Tyler Duffey was suspended for 3 games. Now, don't get me wrong. I am never, ever going to back the league on any of their stupid suspensions that make no sense, where they spin the wheel or they roll the dice or whatever they're doing to give people suspensions for who knows what. I mean, we've had guys get suspensions for taking a punch, never throwing a punch, taking a punch. You've had guys get suspensions for throwing a ball in the dirt before, and they were saying, well, he threw at him. It's incredible sometimes what some of these situations that happen. So I'm not going to back Major League Baseball, but I am going to say Tyler Duffey deserved to get suspended, and he did. So if Tony La Russa doesn't have a problem with what happened, then he's by himself. I don't understand how he's on an island for all of this.
And again, for him to double down on it, again, you had a day, you had a night to kind of see the backlash. Somebody from the White Sox couldn't call him and be like, look, dude, you need to walk that back. I don't care what you actually think. You need to walk that back because you're in danger of losing your whole locker room with that kind of talk. You are the White Sox manager. You don't manage the Twins. You have to stick up for your own players, Tony. It's like talking to your delusional like grandfather that like you have to, kind of bring him back to reality. That's who Tony La Russa is. No, Tony, we don't do that here, Tony. We stick up for our own guys, Tony.
You got to slowly direct him, okay, let's go over here.
Like, does somebody have to bring him to the locker room? Does he know how to get to does he know where he needs to go? Is he going to end up on the other side? Like
good old Papa Tone.
Like it's embarrassing. Like I love it for this because it gives us something to talk about and rail on, and it's hilarious and we can make jokes. But from an organizational standpoint, it's pathetic.
I'm telling you, man, we were supposed to have a shortened show today anyway. We're 42 minutes in and it's been one topic. How can you screw things up so badly that we can talk about it for 45 minutes and honestly not really repeat too much? I mean, we've said some things over and over again, but we've actually gone in different directions on almost all of this.
Well, yeah,
here's another one. Here's part of the bigger problem. It's not what he said, it's actually how he said it. It is what he said, but it's how he said it.
It's everything.
He even said basically that Yermin Mercedes was clueless.
Exactly, and I was going to bring that up too. You brought up your general workplace, and this was one of my points. If I essentially work for a person, and I do something where I think that I'm bettering the organization, or I'm just trying to do my job, essentially. If I'm just trying to do my job, and then all of a sudden it comes out that, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't have did that. If somebody comes at me and calls me clueless when I'm just trying to do my job and then throws me under the bus to other people and makes it public, I am never going to want to work for that guy again.
Right.
There's no way in hell that I'm not going to care what he thinks, he or she thinks. I'm not going to care. I'm going to be done. So,
well, especially since that's something, look, if you're Tony La Russa and you want to go to Yermin Mercedes and say, look, man, I think you're clueless for doing that and blah, blah, blah. And you don't, whatever, you say whatever you want directly to that guy. Well, the fact that you said it in the media, like this is the best stuff you can come up with, is beyond me.
Your player's clueless and the Twins are right. So the Twins are right for throwing at your guy that could hurt him, and that's fine. And that's not clueless.
That's okay.
Doing your job and hitting a home run and scoring runs, that's clueless? What the hell?
The last one we're going to get to today, Matt. I know we don't want to back this guy. I actually don't mind him. I think he's a jerk, but Trevor Bauer. So Trevor Bauer has become much more popular for numerous reasons on social media, some positive, some negative. He has a little like pro wrestler in him. And I don't mean like he actually can pro wrestle, but he gets the crowd, active in different ways, whether it's positive or negative. In pro wrestling, no reaction is awful. Any reaction, positive or negative, is good. And so I kind of feel that like Trevor Bauer he doesn't care as long as he gets a reaction, kind of a thing.
He's your classic heel for sure.
He is. He jumped in here and he said, "Dear hitters, if you hit a 3-0 homer off me, I will not consider it a crime. Dear people who are still mad about a hitter hitting, kindly get out of the game. Can't believe we're still talking about 3-0 swings. If you don't like it, managers or pitchers, just be better." And he's correct.
So you've said two things in the last 5 minutes. And if you're the White Sox management, and if you're watching the show, which I hope you are, you need to be. You just made Vito side with Major League Baseball and Trevor Bauer in the span of about 5 minutes.
That's it. Cancel the show.
You've done things wrong when. This is the blueprint right here. I think we need to cut this and we need to send this to him and say, look, This is the reaction you're getting. You just made people agree with Major League Baseball suspending players and Trevor Bauer, who just goes off on rants to hear himself talk. And he's actually right. And I have to defend it. And
Hey,
it's weird.
Kyrie, if you go back and watch this, I'm going to need the transcript from CC Sabathia and also from me agreeing with Major League Baseball and Trevor Bauer. Can you write that stuff down for me?
We just need this time stamped.
We're going to, what are we at? 45-55 right now on the show. He's 100% correct. I don't understand this argument that you're not supposed to do this or that when look, it's not in the rule book. I don't know what else to tell you. It's not a thing.
Can we make an official, unofficial rules of baseball book?
Yeah. Do you want to write down the unwritten rules? Cause you know what? I think we'll never get it published because we'll always be writing it.
Would people buy that? All five of you watching the show, would you guys buy that if we put that together?
Well, no, we'll never be able to finish it because I feel like there's a new unwritten rule every friggin' day.
We could do revisions. It's fine. It's how you keep selling it.
I don't know. Maybe we can do an audiobook where we just scream into the microphone. That's not a thing. That's not a rule.
That's what we do. No, isn't that what we do?
Yeah, but we didn't put it on audiobook. That's just the show. Oh man. Well, for everybody out there in Facebook and YouTube land, actually Mike jumps in on Facebook. He'll buy it if LaRussa writes the intro. Perfect. Here's the foreword by Tony LaRussa. When they were writing the Unwritten Rules book, I was really excited because finally we found something that I understand. It's the and you know what? I love you guys.
When you get to my age, you can't sit down and read a book. So it's nice to have somebody read a story to you.
I love you. I love our listeners. I love our viewers. Mike and Selly today, you guys are on point. Selly says there's not enough audio in the world for that book.
I think we should do it. I think we should try to put it together. That'd be genius.
How about this? And you'll know this because you were in school with me, okay? I always wanted to do a video where I wanted to do this was kind of like off on a tangent, but I wanted to do a review show where I reviewed something. And it was called the Angry Reviewer Reviews or something like that. And it's basically I start the video off very calm and actually speaking with like a British accent. And I'm in like a smoking jacket and with a pipe, and I'm like, welcome to, but as I continue to talk about whatever the thing is that I'm reviewing, I get angrier and angrier. And I'm like, this piece of garbage, it's the worst piece of, and so I wanted to do that for like records that came out. I said records like it's 1977.
You're getting a character
for albums that came out. For movies that came out, TV shows, all that kind of stuff. But what I really should do is we should just do that for the audiobook. It'll be like chapter 1. If you are, because this was the other one I brought up. Do you remember this? And I can't remember who the two parties were that did this. I think maybe one of them was A-Rod, but I can't really remember. So whoever the hitter was grounded out. And on his way around, he circled around. He ran through first base and he circled around back through the field. And his dugout was on the third base side. So he cut back across the field and apparently he stepped on the mound. And this became a thing because I'll have to look it up. I don't think I have
know.
Time.
I remember what
Matt,
you're talking about.
If you have a second, you can look it up. See if you can look it up. But it's he stepped on the mound as he was going back towards. He was just jogging back towards his dugout, and the pitcher was pissed apparently because that's his mound. And I'm like, and it was like the back of the mound where the rosin bag is. There was nothing there. It's not like he came up and he started kicking dirt on the pitching rubber. He just like jogged off the grass onto the dirt of the back of the mound and then back onto the grass as he continued to the dugout. And I remember this whole thing being, well, it's an unwritten rule. What the hell are you talking about? It's an unwritten rule. He's not allowed to touch certain parts of the field as he leaves the field. You got him out. You did your job as a pitcher. So now he's not allowed to touch your mound, even though he's going back to the dugout. It's insane, some of these. But I feel like if we were going to do that, we should. Chapter 1, when heading back to your dugout, you're not allowed to touch the mound at any point.
Is this like a between two ferns kind of thing? Or like
Yes,
that
kind of.
That John C. Reilly show, that's like my favorite meme ever, the Steve Brule.
The one where he's like,
yes.
Where he's confused? Yeah.
That we could do Tony La Russa's face, and that could be the cover of the book. I got it. See?
Did you find it or no?
No, there's a whole lot of unwritten rules that I'm probably gonna go down a rabbit hole after the show and try to read all these now.
Some former producer you are. You're supposed to be able to find that stuff on the fly, man.
I didn't know I was the producer. This is breaking news.
No, I said former producer. You used to be the producer. Don't you remember this?
That was like 20 years ago. I'm talking about.
Yeah, it seems like it. It seems like it. Thanks.
I was a kid ago and like 30 pounds ago.
Thanks for dating us. Yeah, I know the feeling. A kid and 30 pounds. Yeah. This is another great one from Mike. Poor Sox fans. We got rid of the Homer, Ken the Hawk Harrelson, and now we get TLR. Yeah, but you know what? You don't have to listen to TLR for an entire game, which is just mind-numbing listening to Hawk at the end.
I always said that Hawk should did a podcast like Stories with Yaz, where like he goes over to Yaz's house.
Everything.
It just goes to Yaz's house and like ties him to a chair and just has him talk to Yaz for like 30 minutes a week. And just tells him how great of this. When you brought it up, when Mike brought it up that TLR was going to run out in front of the pitch, I instantly thought of Frazier and Hawk Harrelson running out of the booth to go check on him when he got hit by the pitch.
You know what it reminded me of? Because he was just like, I'm out. You know, like he just left. It reminded me of, in a different way, it reminded me of Major League 2 when he's like, take over, Monty, I'm in the bag. Like he just has the guy take over in the middle of the game, and he's just like, see ya. Like, what was he doing? Oh, he had to go check on Frazier. What the hell are you talking about? He had to go check on Frazier.
I would have loved to like seen the reaction
to Stone.
Yeah, like wait, what? You're doing okay?
Oh my god, it's incredible. It's incredible. Look, here's the funny thing. So I am not naturally a White Sox fan. Okay, I am a Cubs fan, but I'm not a White Sox hater. I do enjoy watching good baseball, and right now the White Sox themselves, for the most part, the players are good baseball, and they're an up and coming team. And I was happy for them when they won in 2005 and all of that. But I do have to say this: like, both of our baseball teams in Chicago are funny in like inadvertent ways that they shouldn't be funny. Like the Sox were a joke for a long time because of how they were run and you know, Hawk Harrelson with all of his Hawkisms and all the rest of this stuff. And now they're a joke because of Tony La Russa. The Cubs were a joke because of 108 years and just the absolute futility going on there, and the games that they lost in like the early teens here, where it was like, you know, 2011, 2012, and they were inventing ways to lose games. I mean, I look back sometimes at stuff that I posted where it was just like, I don't think I've watched so many baseball games in my life, and I've coached baseball and I've played baseball. I've never seen a game lost like that. And they're doing it in the major leagues. Like, they're just, these two organizations are so inadvertently funny. But it's almost sad when you look at it and you're like, this is who they are.
Because we're a major market. That's what makes it. We can support two teams. Like the fact that like neither one of them can get everything right or close to everything right. Like, come on, you have to be kidding me.
Yeah, imagine if they were both good at the same time. And by that, I mean both good for extended periods. Because there's been years where they've both been pretty good and that kind of stuff. But
I don't know.
Imagine if they were both good without, like, what would we talk about if they were both just good at the same time and they weren't entirely a circus? Like, we'd have nothing.
We'd still have the Bulls.
We'd have the Bears. We'd have the Bears
too. And the Hawks.
Yeah.
Tribute videos.
Silly. You know what the funny thing is? The Cubs are giving tribute videos to everyone from the 2016 team, and the Bears couldn't even send out a tweet to say thanks, Mitch Trubisky, but they said goodbye to. Who did they say goodbye to? They sent out like a goodbye to somebody.
Charles Leno, wasn't it?
Charles
Leno?
Leno.
Yeah,
Charles Leno.
Come on.
Charles Leno. The 29th best starting left tackle in the league. Got a thanks for everything, Charles, who was a 7th round pick, and they couldn't even give a tweet to their former number 1 pick who they ran out of town. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was deservedly run out of town, but you couldn't even give a tweet to him. But yeah, I don't know. We spent an hour on this single topic alone. That's all we have. That's all the time we have.
If we could still keep talking about it, that's how bad
we could. And that's all the time we have. But I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Sally and Mike.
You guys brought it today. It was good. Yeah, it was. The chat was on point today.
This was some fantastic back and forth between us and you guys, and I love it. Oh, that's right. This one's the best.
That's when I officially quit the team for 3 weeks.
QB1. I almost sent out a tweet when Patrick Kane had one of his milestones this year, because he's had a bunch of them where games and goals and all kinds of stuff. I was going to send out a tweet with Patrick Kane that said QB1 just for the hell of it, just because he should be QB1 before Andy Dalton, but we'll leave that one alone. Matthew, thank you. CC Sabathia, thank you for taking Kyrie's place today. Kyrie,
thanks, cuz.
Thanks, cuz. Kyrie, get working on that transcript so we can hear you go off on this rant, because I can't wait to hear it.
Oh, I want to hear it. And he has to swear, because I know he probably doesn't swear all that much. I need to hear that.
I feel like he swears a lot. He just doesn't do it on the show.
I don't know. Like he's more refined than us, that's for sure.
Well, that doesn't take much. Look at this stash. That doesn't really take much.
Well, that's a whole nother show.
I have look. We might have the most interesting 3-man facial hair on any show ever, between the stash, your goatee, and Kyrie's patchy beard.
Well, if I try to grow a beard to be patchy, this is the only thing I can do. So, and maybe this
great. Thanks, Sully. Great show today, cuz. That's what Sully told us.
Cuz meter's up to 11 now.
Great work. Yeah, cuz were you counting from the beginning?
Yeah.
Because he said, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why
I thought you were counting from the restart, because I could have seen 11 from the restart too.
No. I counted from the beginning because I was curious. Like, how many times did he say cuz?
Yeah.
Like, there's always those crutch words you have, like when you do this stuff.
Did he say? So let me ask you this, and I don't know if maybe we'll go back and we'll take a look at this.
Kyrie,
did he say cuz? Did he say cuz or the F word more?
That's a good bet.
Yeah.
Like over under what was said more.
Yeah, I think we should take a look at that. Yeah,
probably the F word.
To your point, Kyrie, when you do the transcript, can you highlight those words for us? Cousin. Oh, man. Anyway, for Matt Moore and Kyrie Thompson and CC Sabathia, I want to thank Mike, Sully, and everyone else who watched today and interacted. We really appreciate it. You guys are what makes the show. I'm Vito Abinanti. That's Matt Moore. Join us at our normal time, Saturdays at 10:30 Central on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. This has been the Weekend Wake Up with Vito Abinanti and Matt Moore on everything we've ever seen.